Dear sisters, you stand here today searching for meaning behind someone's silence. The world often speaks in words, but the heart speaks in signals. You may not hear it, but you can feel it. This speech is for you who wonders if you are truly seen. There are moments in life where the quiet between two souls speaks louder than any confession. The truth is not always spoken, but it is always shown. The first sign is presence. When you enter a space, his focus changes. He does not need to announce it, but his energy shifts. He becomes more aware, more alive, as if the air itself has weight. This is not imagination. This is attention, and attention is the purest form of care. The second sign is protection. He feels responsible for your well-being. Even in small things, he wants to ease your path. He does not say it, but he moves his world to make your journey softer. This is strength in action, not words. The third sign is patience. When someone values you deeply, they give you time. Time is the currency of life. Time is the one gift you cannot take back. If he gives it freely, it is because you hold a place no one else does. The fourth sign is vulnerability. Around you, he lowers his guard. He lets you see the parts he hides from the world. This is not weakness. This is trust. And trust is the bridge between hearts. The fifth sign is growth. He strives to become better because of you. Your presence awakens discipline, focus, and kindness in him. He wants to rise to meet the level of your soul. Presence speaks louder than words. Attention reveals true care. In life, you will meet many people who speak beautifully, who know how to arrange words into promises. Yet words can be empty, spoken out of habit or convenience. What cannot be faked for long is presence. Presence is energy. Presence is attention. When someone's heart beats faster because of you, their attention naturally sharpens. Their eyes find you even in a crowded room. Their focus moves toward you like water finding its path. You do not need to ask for it. You do not need to demand it. It comes naturally because your presence changes the atmosphere for them. Think about it. When you walk into a space and he straightens his posture, adjusts his tone, or becomes suddenly aware of the smallest details around you, that is not coincidence. It is the subconscious revealing itself. He cannot always say how he feels, but the way he notices your movements, the way his energy rises when you are near, speaks volumes. It is an instinct to orient toward what matters most. In this orientation you see care that no speech could fully capture. Presence is also the measure of authenticity. Anyone can send messages, anyone can say they miss you, but someone who truly feels your importance will show it with the consistency of their presence. He will remember the small things. He will remember the way your voice shifts when you are tired, the way your hands move when you speak passionately, the kind of silence you keep when you are lost in thought. This is because his attention is not forced. It is flowing. And when attention flows, care is already there. Real presence is more than being physically close. It is mental and emotional focus. It is the quiet sense that in a moment, even if there are 100 distractions, you have his undivided awareness. It is in the way he pauses when you speak. It is in the way he listens, not to respond but to understand. It is in the way his eyes stay soft and attentive, even when you are not talking. This is the kind of presence that cannot be rehearsed or pretended. You may have noticed that when he is truly present, you also feel more alive. You feel seen, heard, valued without needing to perform. This is the silent power of attention. It is nourishment for the soul. It gives you a sense of safety and belonging, and in that safety you also grow. Presence then becomes not only his expression of care, but also the space where you can discover more of yourself. Do not confuse presence with possession. Possession is controlling and restrictive. Presence is open and receptive. When someone's presence empowers you rather than confines you, that is care without strings. He may not say he loves you. He may not declare you are special. But his attention lifts you rather than limits you. This is how you know it is genuine. Presence is also a reflection of priorities. Time and energy are finite. People invest them where their heart leads them. If he chooses to give his time, his awareness, his focus to you without being asked, it is because something inside him values you more than words could convey. That is why presence is the first sign, the foundation of all the others. Protection, patience, vulnerability, growth, and silence all grow out of presence. Without it, none of the other signs can truly exist. If you are experiencing this kind of attention, recognize its depth. Not to feed your ego, but to understand your influence. You matter to him in a way that shifts his behavior, his focus, his inner world. Your presence has become an anchor, a point of gravity in his life. And though he may not be ready to put it into words, though he may not have the courage or the timing to express it, his energy already speaks. Always remember the power of attention. When you sense it, honor it. When you give it, do so consciously. Presence is the language of the heart. It is subtle but unmistakable. It is the silent proof that words may never achieve. Protection in actions shows silent devotion. In a world full of noise and constant declarations, true care reveals itself through what someone does when no one is looking. When he cannot say how much you mean to him, he shows it in ways that are often quiet but powerful. He moves through life with a sense of awareness toward your well-being. It may be subtle, but it is steady. It may be small, but it is consistent. This is the second sign that you are his weakness. The instinct to protect you without asking for credit. Think of the countless little things that speak louder than grand gestures. He notices when you are tired and offers to carry the weight you hold, even if it's something simple like helping with tasks or removing small obstacles. He becomes more attentive when you walk together, scanning the environment, making sure you feel safe, making sure you are not overlooked. This is not about heroics or control. This is about an unspoken duty that his heart has accepted. He does not do it because it will earn him praise. He does it because something within him wants to shield you from discomfort, pain, or unnecessary struggle. Protection is a form of devotion that often remains invisible to outsiders. While others may not notice, you can feel it. The way he checks on you without announcing it. The way he subtly intervenes to prevent things from going wrong. The way he chooses words carefully so as not to hurt you even when he is upset. All of these acts form a quiet armor around you. This is not the armor of ownership, but the armor of care. It is important to understand that real protection is not about dominance or restriction. It is not about telling you what to do. It is about wanting you to walk your path with safety and freedom. A man who protects you in this way respects your independence. He wants to see you rise and succeed. But he also wants to make sure that the space you rise in does not harm you unnecessarily. His protective energy is a reflection of his respect. Protection can also be emotional. It shows up in the way he listens when you are vulnerable. He holds space for your fears without judging them. He steps back from harsh reactions when he senses you are overwhelmed. He gives reassurance when the world feels heavy. This emotional protection can be even more powerful than physical gestures because it shows he understands the weight you carry inside. It shows he is aware that words can harm or heal. He chooses healing even when silence might be easier. Sometimes protection is about planning ahead. He anticipates what you might need before you ask. He remembers details that make your life smoother. He prepares for challenges so you won't be blindsided. These may seem like small acts, but they reveal a large truth. He has placed your well-being inside his own priorities. He wants to remove unnecessary friction from your path. And that desire is born from admiration, respect, and quiet love. It's also worth noting that protection requires courage. It's easier to be indifferent. It's easier to let life happen without stepping in. But when someone cares enough to protect you, even in subtle ways, It means they have chosen to take responsibility. They have decided that your safety, your peace, your comfort matter to them. And they make that decision over and over again without announcing it. If you feel this kind of protective energy from him, do not underestimate it. Protection may not be wrapped in words or displayed with dramatic gestures. It may look like a small warning when you're about to make a mistake. It may look like patience when you are frustrated. It may look like a quiet hand on your shoulder at just the right time. All of these things are signs of his devotion. This protective instinct can awaken your own strength as well. Knowing someone cares enough to protect you can give you courage to go further, to risk more, to grow beyond your fears. That is the beauty of real protection. It does not make you weaker. It gives you a stronger foundation to become who you truly are. In the end, protection is a form of silent love. It is the echo of the first sign presence turned into action. When someone's attention deepens into action, when his instinct to care becomes part of his daily behavior, you are no longer just someone he notices. You are someone he feels responsible for, someone he cannot ignore, someone whose well-being matters to him deeply. Time freely given is the rarest proof of value. In a world where distractions never end, where people constantly rush from one task to another, the truest sign of someone's priority is where they choose to spend their time. Words are easy to send. Messages are easy to type. Promises can be made in seconds. But giving time is giving life, because every moment spent with you is a moment that will never return. When he can't say how much you matter, his time reveals it more clearly than any confession ever could. Think about what time really represents. It's not only minutes and hours on a clock. It's energy, focus, and presence combined. When someone chooses to spend their time with you, they are choosing to hold back from something else. They are saying without words, you are worth my attention, my energy, my life in this moment. This is why time freely given is never accidental. It is always intentional. Even if he does not say it, by choosing you again and again, he is showing you how deeply you matter. When he gives you time, it is not about filling silence. It is about creating a space where you can be yourself, where you feel heard, where your soul feels acknowledged. It may be a walk, a quiet talk, a shared meal, or even sitting together in stillness. These moments tell you more than 1,000 messages because they cannot be faked. Time together reveals how much someone values your existence. True time giving is not rushed. It is not a leftover after everything else is done. It is deliberate. He makes space for you even when life is full. He remembers your important days, your stories, your moments of struggle. He stays a little longer when you need him. He does not only show up for celebration, but also for your quiet days, your low points, your uncertainties. This is what marks the difference between attention and devotion. Attention can be fleeting. Devotion holds steady even when no one else is watching. Time also reflects patience. In giving you his time, he is saying he is willing to know you beyond surface impressions. He wants to understand your layers, your moods, your ambitions and fears. That kind of understanding only grows with time. It cannot be rushed or compressed. By giving you this space, he is telling you that he is not only interested in the highlight moments, but in the whole journey of who you are. You may notice that time often becomes the bridge for the other signs to flourish. Through time he shows protection. Through time he reveals vulnerability. Through time he grows with you and for you. Without time, none of these deeper qualities can take root. This is why his time is the clearest measure of his priorities. It is the most honest currency of connection. Sometimes his time will show up as small but consistent gestures. A check-in at the right moment. A long walk even after a tiring day. Staying awake just to hear how you're feeling. Adjusting his plans because he senses you need company. These might look ordinary, but in truth they are extraordinary because they are intentional sacrifices. He could be somewhere else, doing something else, but he is with you. That decision is not small. That decision is everything. It's important to see time not just as a measure of quantity, but also of quality. Someone can be next to you but absent in attention. What matters is the focus, the connection, the willingness to be present. When he gives you not just his hours but his undivided focus, you are seeing the purest form of care. That is when time transforms into a gift of the heart. Giving time is also a sign of courage. It means he is willing to be known, to share parts of himself, to let you see his life beyond the surface. This mutual sharing builds trust and dissolves walls. It is through time that both of you discover more depth, more truth, and more authenticity. If you sense this kind of time from him, recognize the value. Do not dismiss it because it does not arrive wrapped in fancy words or public gestures. In the long run, time is far more powerful than momentary displays. It is the steady heartbeat of devotion. It is the quiet answer to all the doubts you might carry. Remember always that time cannot be bought back. When someone gives it to you freely, without pressure or obligation, it means you have touched a place in their heart that words cannot reach. This is why his time is not just a schedule item. It is a silent declaration that you are significant enough to pause the rest of the world. Cherish it, respect it, and understand it. Because time freely given is the rarest proof of value and the clearest sign that you are far more than a passing thought in his life. Vulnerability opens the door to real trust. In a world where so many people wear masks, where strength is often misunderstood as hardness, the ability to be vulnerable is a rare and powerful sign. When he can't say it, but he begins to show you the parts of himself he usually hides, that is not weakness. That is courage. Vulnerability is a quiet signal that you are not just another person in his life. You are someone who feels safe enough to see behind his walls. Think of how we are taught from a young age to protect ourselves, to act like nothing can touch us, to stay guarded so we will not be hurt. Many men grow up believing they must always appear strong, composed, and in control. Yet when he begins to reveal his fears, his doubts, his insecurities, he is giving you access to the hidden chambers of his soul. This is not something done lightly. This is something done only with someone who holds his trust. You may notice vulnerability in small but significant ways. He shares personal stories from his past that still hold pain. He admits when he is unsure instead of pretending he knows everything. He tells you about dreams he has never spoken aloud before. He allows his eyes to soften when he is overwhelmed. These moments may seem ordinary, but they are in fact extraordinary because they are invitations to see him as he truly is. Vulnerability also shows in the way he lets you support him, not just physically but emotionally. When he no longer feels the need to be perfect in front of you, when he can ask for help, when he allows himself to lean on you even briefly, that is vulnerability. It is the acknowledgement that he cannot do everything alone, and that he values you enough to share the weight he carries. True vulnerability does not come with drama. It is quiet. It is in the pauses of a conversation, in the tone of his voice when he says, "I don't know," or "I need a moment." It is in the trust he places in your presence. And through that vulnerability, a deeper bond begins to form. This bond goes beyond attraction or admiration. It becomes a foundation of trust. When someone allows themselves to be vulnerable, they are also giving you a mirror of your own humanity. It invites you to be vulnerable too. This creates a circle of understanding where neither of you has to perform. You can both simply be. That kind of mutual openness leads to a connection that can withstand tension, misunderstanding, and time. Without vulnerability, relationships remain at the surface. With vulnerability, they deepen into something rare. Vulnerability is also a sign of growth. It takes strength to open up, especially when the world has rewarded only the appearance of toughness. It means he is moving beyond old patterns. It means he sees you as a catalyst for his own expansion. And as he shows you more of who he truly is, he is also testing whether you can hold that space with compassion. If you can, trust builds. If you cannot, the walls return. This is the delicate but beautiful process of two people learning to trust each other. You may notice that vulnerability and presence are closely linked. Without presence, he cannot feel safe enough to reveal himself. Without time, he cannot develop the trust required to open up. Vulnerability grows slowly, like a seed nurtured in quiet soil. It cannot be rushed. But once it begins, it changes everything. It turns small interactions into deep exchanges. It turns ordinary moments into sacred ground. If you see this vulnerability, do not take it lightly. Do not treat it as weakness or as a tool to gain leverage. Treat it with respect. Respond with honesty and care. Vulnerability is a gift, and like all gifts, it can only thrive where it is honored. When he shares himself in this way, he is silently telling you that you matter beyond appearance, beyond status, beyond performance. You have entered the space of his true self, and that is a privilege. He cannot say it outright, but by allowing you to witness his vulnerability, he is giving you proof that his trust runs deep. Hold that knowledge with care, because vulnerability opens the door to real trust, and real trust is the foundation upon which everything else stands. Growth inspired by you is silent admiration. When someone begins to elevate their own life, improve their habits, and refine their character without being asked, it signals a deep influence you have awakened inside them. This is not about control or expectation. This is about inspiration. When he cannot say the words, but you see him striving to be more disciplined, more focused, more present, more kind, this is his silent confession. He wants to rise to the level of the energy you bring into his life. Think of the natural way we grow around sunlight. A plant does not need to be told to reach toward light. It simply does. In the same way, when your presence carries warmth, purpose, and integrity, it becomes a natural source of growth for someone who values you. He may not announce that you inspire him. He may not even fully understand it himself. But his actions begin to shift. His choices become sharper. His attention to his own development deepens. That is admiration transforming into action. This kind of growth can appear in many forms. He may begin to take better care of his health. He may invest more time in learning, in working on his dreams, in developing patience. He may reevaluate the people around him, the habits he once thought were harmless, the environments he chooses to stay in. These changes are not accidental. They are signs that your influence has sparked an inner fire, and that fire is pushing him to evolve into the version of himself he always hoped he could be. Growth inspired by you is also a form of respect. It means he sees you not just as a companion, but as a mirror of what is possible. He feels that to stand beside you, to match your energy, to walk alongside your spirit, he must raise his own standard. This is why your presence is so powerful. You do not force him to change. You do not demand it. By simply embodying your own values, you invite him to step into his. Sometimes this growth looks small from the outside, but it is huge from the inside. He may start speaking more gently. He may begin managing his time with more discipline. He may start questioning his old beliefs. He may begin to treat others with more kindness, because he has learned from watching how you move through the world. These are signs that you have become a catalyst, a quiet teacher simply by being who you are. Growth also means courage. Change is not easy. Habits resist, old patterns cling, comfort zones call. Yet, when he begins to stretch beyond them, it shows he has something worth growing for. He has found a reason, a motivation that transcends his own inertia. He has found you. And because of you, he feels the pull to expand, to climb, to shed what no longer serves him. This is one of the most profound ways someone can show you how much you matter. You may notice this growth linked to the earlier signs: Presence creates awareness. Protection creates devotion. Time builds connection. Vulnerability opens trust. All of these together create a fertile ground where growth becomes inevitable. He cannot stay the same because your influence has reached a place inside him where words do not reach. It touches his identity, his sense of who he is becoming. It's important to understand that growth inspired by you is not dependency. It's not about changing only for approval. It's about discovering his own potential through your example. He is still on his own journey. He is still responsible for his choices, but you have become the spark that lit his path. That is a rare and beautiful dynamic. If you see these shifts in him, recognize the quiet admiration they represent. He is not trying to impress you with temporary gestures. He is building himself for the long run. He is investing in becoming the man he believes he can be because of the reflection he sees in your presence. That is not a small thing. That is transformation at its root. Honor this influence by continuing to live your own truth. Do not dim yourself to make him comfortable. The light you bring is what created the growth. Allow it to keep shining. Encourage his evolution, but do not own it. It belongs to him. And through that mutual respect, the connection between you deepens far beyond attraction or words. Understand this clearly, because growth inspired by you is silent admiration. And silent admiration is one of the strongest proofs of what the heart feels but cannot yet speak. Silence can hold the deepest confession. In a culture that celebrates noise, performance, and constant communication, it is easy to forget how powerful silence can be. Yet silence is often the most honest space between two souls. When he cannot find the words, when his voice stops but his eyes still speak, that silence becomes the container of everything he feels. It is not emptiness. It is not avoidance. It is the weight of unspoken truth resting in the air between you. Think about how silence feels when you are with someone you barely know compared to someone you trust. With a stranger, silence is awkward. With someone you love or respect, silence becomes comfortable, even sacred. This is because silence is the truest test of connection. When he chooses to be silent with you and yet stay near, when he allows you into the quiet corners of his mind, that is a sign that words are no longer necessary for him to feel understood. Silence can be his way of protecting something fragile. Sometimes emotions are too deep to be expressed immediately. Sometimes words feel too small for the intensity of what is felt. When he goes quiet, it may not mean he is withdrawing. It may mean he is honoring the depth of what he feels by not reducing it to language. That restraint itself is a sign of respect and vulnerability. You may notice this silence in the way he lingers. He does not rush to fill every pause with conversation. He lets the moment breathe. He may sit beside you without speaking, yet his presence feels like a hand resting gently on your spirit. He may look at you with an expression that says far more than words ever could. These are not empty spaces. They are filled with attention, reflection, and quiet admiration. Silence can also signal safety. When someone is still performing or posturing, they fill the air with words to maintain control. When someone feels safe enough to simply be, they do not need to fill every second. They can let their guard down. They can simply exist next to you without trying to impress you or prove themselves. This kind of silence is a sanctuary. It is a sign you are no longer just a guest in his life, but part of the inner space where he feels at home. Another dimension of silence is listening. When he grows quiet to hear you, when he gives space to your words, when he does not interrupt but absorbs, that silence becomes a gift. It shows he values your voice, your perspective, your emotions. He wants to understand, not just respond. This is a subtle but powerful act of care. Silence can also be the bridge between all the other signs. Presence begins with silence. Protection is strengthened in silence. Time unfolds in silence. Vulnerability is born in silence. Growth is reflected upon in silence. Without silence, there is no room for the soul to show itself. Silence is the soil in which deeper connection grows. Sometimes silence is preparation. He may be choosing his words carefully because he does not want to hurt you or mislead you. He may be gathering courage to express something important. He may be silently affirming your importance by making sure when he does speak, it carries weight. All of this reveals a level of thoughtfulness that cannot be faked. It is important to differentiate silence of neglect from silence of depth. Silence of neglect feels cold, distant, and dismissive. Silence of depth feels warm, steady, and present. When his silence is paired with attention, presence, and care, you know it belongs to the second kind. It is the unspoken confession of someone who feels deeply but reveals slowly. If you experience this kind of silence, honor it. Do not rush to fill it. Let it be. In those moments, you may discover the quiet truth of your connection. You may realize that even without words, there is an understanding flowing between you. You may feel the strength of his admiration and his emotional investment simply by the way he remains. Silence, when given freely and comfortably, is not a void. It is a canvas where emotions, respect, and admiration are painted without sound. It is the pause where the heart breathes and the soul speaks. In this way, his silence is not an absence of feeling, but the deepest expression of it. Recognizing these signs empowers you to value your worth. It is one thing to receive attention, protection, time, vulnerability, growth, and silence. It is another thing to truly recognize them, to let them awaken the truth of who you are. When you see the signs clearly, you begin to understand that you are not just a passerby in someone's life. You are a catalyst, an anchor, an influence powerful enough to shape another person's behavior, energy, and direction. That recognition should never inflate your ego, but it should strengthen your sense of self-worth. Worth is not about what someone gives you. It is about how you see yourself, how you respect your own space, and how you respond to the way others treat you. When you recognize these 6 signs, you begin to realize that you are worthy of deep care, steady presence, and authentic connection. You see that your energy holds value, your presence has gravity, and your heart has the power to inspire. That realization becomes a shift inside you. It builds confidence that does not depend on validation. It helps you stand taller and choose healthier relationships. When you recognize your worth, you stop questioning whether you are too much or not enough. You stop doubting your impact. You understand that you do not have to chase or perform to earn genuine attention. If someone is showing these signs, it is because of who you already are. Your influence does not come from pretending or pleasing. It comes from being. That is the secret power you hold. This recognition also helps you set boundaries. When you know your worth, you no longer settle for half-hearted gestures. You no longer tolerate being treated as an afterthought. You begin to see the difference between words and actions, between empty flattery and meaningful devotion. This clarity protects your heart and helps you invest in connections that truly honor you. Recognizing these signs also frees you from anxiety. Instead of constantly wondering where you stand, you learn to read the quiet evidence. You see the presence, the protection, the time, the vulnerability, the growth, and the silence. You feel the depth in each gesture. This allows you to relax into the connection instead of questioning it. You become more grounded, more self-assured, and more open-hearted because you are no longer searching for clues. You already understand them. It is important to note that this recognition does not mean you depend on someone else for validation. In fact, it is the opposite. By seeing how someone else values you, you begin to see yourself more clearly. You realize that your light already exists, and they are simply responding to it. This awareness gives you the courage to nurture that light, to grow even stronger in your own purpose, and to maintain your standards even when life challenges you. Recognizing these signs also brings gratitude. It reminds you that genuine care still exists, that depth still exists in a world often dominated by shallow interactions. Gratitude softens your heart and sharpens your wisdom. It helps you respond with respect rather than entitlement, with kindness rather than arrogance. It also allows you to see the humanity in the other person, their efforts, their fears, their unspoken emotions. In this way, recognition becomes mutual respect. When you understand your worth and the signs that reveal it, you naturally begin to inspire even more growth, even more authenticity. You stop taking such connections for granted. You stop trying to control them. You simply let them deepen. You become a stable presence, a grounding force, a partner in the silent dance of trust. This stability is what allows love, friendship, and respect to flourish over time. Recognition is also a form of power, not power over others, but power within yourself. It is the power to choose who you allow close, to choose how you respond, to choose when to stay and when to walk away. This power does not make you cold. It makes you clear. It gives you the ability to see what is genuine and what is performance. And once you have that clarity, your life changes. You stop chasing illusions. You start building truth. If you can see these signs, let that awareness uplift you, not inflate you. Let it teach you to keep your heart open, but also to keep your standards high. Let it guide you to treat others with the same depth you wish to receive. Because in the end, recognizing these signs is not only about knowing his weakness. It is about awakening your own strength, your own dignity, your own capacity to love wisely. In the quiet rhythm of life, words will fade, but actions, presence, time, vulnerability, growth, and silence will always tell the deeper story. You have now seen how these 6 signs speak louder than any confession he could give. More than that, you have learned how recognizing them awakens your own strength, your own worth, and your own ability to choose with clarity. Let this understanding guide you not only in relationships, but in every part of your journey. Walk forward with confidence, dignity, and openness, knowing that what is genuine will always reveal itself without force. May your path ahead be filled with people who see you, value you, and rise to meet your energy. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for allowing this moment of reflection to inspire your next steps.